Hey everyone, Linky317 here with my thoughts on the upcoming 7.8 changes to Shen, as well as a look at item changes later on in the preseason. Keep in mind, this video is based on the PBE changes of April 7th. Currently, Shen suffers Rai syndrome, too versatile for pro play, but bad for solo due to the lack of coordination. Anyways, let's jump straight to the changes. Hey, these changes are fine.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
The first change is on Shen's Q, Twilight Assault. Meddler said, removing bonus damage to non-champions on the Q. Organized play gets a lot more value from wave pushing power throughout the game. Hitting this looks like a good place to remove power from that context. As a result, potentially allowing it to be reinvested elsewhere. So now for Twilight Assault, empowered attacks now deal 15 base damage and it scales every 3 levels up to 40. However, empowered attacks to non-champions is removed. Wave Break also said, this base magic damage is intended to be reliable for last hitting and early lane, but not be as good for shoving the wave out pre-Tiamat Bomby Cinder purchase. To myself, I find these changes on Q acceptable. I found Shen's Q way too reliable for farming and pushing waves under tower. I feel under tower he can still last it fine, albeit a bit more difficult, so potentially AD runes can help out, or an early Tiamat. As well, since Shen now obtains base damage, his overall damage against champions increases a significant amount, to be honest, especially when combined with, your percentage damage as well as damage items such as Wit's End. And for those who worry about the fate of Shen Jungle, he lives on. Currently, each attack now deals 100% increased damage to monsters. Assuming this cap skills per level, Shen Jungle should actually clear slightly faster. It'll be slightly faster early on, but to be honest, there's not that much of a difference. It's still going to be slow as shit. Moving on to changes to his E, Shadow Dash, Meddler says, increased E width. The difference in reliability between very low and normal latency circumstances looks to be too high, and we think that width part of the reason. Currently, width also creates some situations where it looks like it hit but didn't, so this potentially of double value as a change. So currently for Shadow Dash, the energy cost is being lowered from 180 to 150, and its width is increased slightly. So this is really good. It's a huge buff actually, and depending on how much the width is actually increased, this can spell a difference between a 1 or 2 man taunt to a 3 to 4 man taunt. Because I've had times where I've dashed through multiple people, but I only hit one of them because, the enemies were slightly on the side of it. So overall, this is a positive buff, and with the energy reduction as well, since it's less punishing if you do miss a taunt. And looking at the final changes regarding to Shen's ultimate Stand United, Meddler says, ult shield strength scaling with the ally target's missing health, lower base health values. Organized play tends to use offensive ults on really healthy allies a lot more, while regular play more defensive clutch saves. So for Stand United, the base shield value is being lowered from 250, 550, 850 to 175, 350, 525. However, the good thing is the shield now scales up based on missing health of target up to 160% of its base value. So 280, 560, 840. So to get the max value, your allies need to be around 40% of their health. Also, one more change is the cooldown is being increased from 180, 150, 120 to 200, 180, 160. Base values are getting hit quite hard, however, it does scale off missing health, potentially shielding more early and mid game. Late game, however, slightly less. Anyways, this will nerf Shen's ultimate offensively, dives and ganks, but it will be a buff for the defensive ults and for the solo queue monkeys. And as stated before, when your ally's about, let's say 50% health, your ultimate should be around pre-change numbers. Cooldown nerf sucks, but with upcoming items, you'll potentially pick up more CDR. I think a minimum of 10% CDR should be essential for Shen, and maybe even higher after this patch. I'll have to test out more in the future. Also very quickly, I'll give you my opinions on several of the tank item changes and new items upcoming. Overall, most of the new tank items have reduced HP numbers, so this is an indirect nerf to Shen. However, potentially, Shen might have percentage HP scaling increased, but I highly doubt it since it's Riot. So, with more resist this will make Key Barrier a lot more effective. So starting with the new Abyssal Scepter, it looks pretty good since it has health, magic resist, base health regen, as well as CDR. The unique passive where enemies take 10% more magic damage, this will be really good when Shen buys Thornmail, his Sunfire Cape, Wit's End, and plus his Q damage. He'll do a lot of magic damage, As well, since he's melee and in the front line, he'll be boosting the rest of his team's magic damage. With the new Banshee's Veil, I'll probably be ignoring this item since it has ability power. I mean, it does have magic resist, it does have CDR, and that spell shield's alright, but I just feel like it's not that great of a slot now, especially after a lot of HP nerfs on tank items. So for Deadman's Plate, its health is being reduced and its armor is being increased. As well, the stack generation is a lot faster, so I might be buying this item more often to build movement speed. The Doran Shield changes look very good, with an additional 5 physical damage on hit, as well as a mini Spectre's passive. This will really help out Shen's laning phase, as well as to help his poor health regen, as well as to help his last hitting after the Q changes. As a result, these changes might make Doran Shield one of the best starts for Shen. Moving on to Guardian's Angel, I didn't really buy this item much in the past, and I probably won't buy it anymore since they're pushing it more towards the ADs and the Bruiser side, so nope, no more Guardian's Angel. I mean, the stats do fit on Shen, but it's a huge waste of a slot, really. So next up, Randuin's Omen. So these changes are interesting. They made it 300 gold cheaper, making it one of the cheaper tank items. However, they're reducing its health, and they've removed the critical strike reduction passive, which makes Randuin's no longer mandatory purchase against Yasuo's. Its slow duration is being reduced, but its slow percent is being increased. Now see Randuin's Omen as a cheap and really efficient tank item with a bit of CC built in with its active. Moving on to Spear Visage, nothing big, just health reduced, more MR. Alright, moving to Sunfire Cape. These changes are going to be very interesting for Shen. So its health is being reduced and its armor is being increased. However, the burn damage is being changed quite a bit, the scaling on it. So instead of 25 plus 1 per level, it's being changed to 7 plus 2 per level. So with the burn damage changes, the Rush Sunfire isn't that strong anymore. I used to always talk about going all in at level 9 with the Sunfire Cape, but with these changes that might be a bit weaker since you do deal 9 magic damage less per second with the Sunfire Cape. Though, with the on-hit damage on Shen's Q, that might make up for it. Anyways, so 50% more damage for pushing waves helps Shen push waves even more quickly AoE wise. And the damage at level 18 will still be the same, but you'll actually get a lot more magic damage when you're pushing back the waves late game, which makes Sunfire Cape a bit better to keep for the late game. Alright, moving on to changes to Warmog's armor. Currently it looks really appealing, there's lots of health, the passive threshold is lowered, you get more HP per second, and its passive is reduced to 2 seconds when you're damaged by minions, which really helps out when you're pushing a wave. With all the HP nerfs on all the other tank items, this might make Warmogs a more appealing purchase, as it also comes with CDR. Looking at the new item Adaptive Helm, it looks very interesting. It has the same stats as the new Abyssal Scepter, but its passive would be really good on damage over time, or DPS AP such as Cassiopeia or Ryze, or maybe in Vlad, and maybe even Teemo as well. So finally, Gargoyle Stoneplate. This looks really fun to use, however its stats 1v1 is pretty poor, but the potential for 80 armor and magic resist in a fight is amazing. But it should only be bought after a big HP item like Frozen Mallet, Titanic Hydra, or Warmogs, or if you know if your team is going to be team fighting very often. So what's going to be crazy is you activate the item for 100% more health, and then you activate Key Barrier. Wow. Oh man, that'd be awesome. That's it everyone. Overall, I see this as positive changes. I was more honestly scared of an entire kit rework, you know, like no more Spirit Blade. Like, I'm not ready for those changes yet. But instead, just some number tweaking and some changes here and there. I know it sucks that changes are coming, but I honestly found Shen's Twilight Assault a bit too good for farming. And the fact that they're still giving it some extra power on hit against champions, that makes Shen dueling a lot better. So, you know, if you guys like to run Fervor Shen, you're going to do a lot more damage. As well, the Shadow Dash buff makes it really easy to land, and it's more forgiving when you miss. The Stand United changes are good for solo queue, I think, where you need to help boosted teammates dying since it scales on missing health. But overall, I will take a short break from ranked to get used to these changes, but I will continue playing Shen and let you guys know how I feel on these changes. Good thing I hit 1 million points on Shen and Plat before these changes happen. But anyways, if you have comments or you want to let me know what you think about the changes, post away in the comments. I'll be sure to read them. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone, and as always, stay ninja and save lives. Bye.